You are listening to the LAArtist Aftershow, where we chat with the artist about anything and everything, most of which we probably forgot to mention during the podcast. So all of this is bonus content just for you.
Like, I will tell you everything. I'm like absolutely unhinged. I will give you the flat, honest truth and nothing but the truth. And
Nice.
I don't sugarcoat things for people. I'm the same way around every person.
Yes, and that's definitely and again. So thank you and welcome to the after show.
Yeah,
by the
welcome
way.
to the after show.
Welcome to the after show. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the after show as well.
Mhm.
Where it's like, again, cool. We were going off a format for the main episode where we wanted to talk about specific things that can help new artists and whatnot. So it's a little bit easier and structured. And now we can literally just talk about anything.
It's like,
Heck yeah.
the only things I sugarcoat are donuts.
Glazed, baby,
Yes,
glazed.
yes.
Oh, that should be one of the other ones. Although, well, because Krispy Kreme is a specific company,
Yes,
it'd be either Krispy Kreme
Or Dunkin'.
or no, I hate
that's a
Dunkin'.
joke.
or
I mean, we did say Crayola or Rose Art.
That's true.
no
Legos or Mega Blocks.
Hey, come on.
But just like a traditional donut.
Glazed or unglazed?
No, but because like we have
For donut shops?
yeah, like a donut shop donut.
Oh yeah.
Where they're bigger, they're fluffier.
The fancy
It's
ones.
like
Well, they're cheaper than the Krispy Kreme ones.
Yeah.
Krispy Kreme or Donut King.
Not really. Well,
Or Krispy Kreme versus any strip mall donut shop.
yeah, or yeah,
Crispy-
small
Krispy-
business donut.
Yeah,
shop.
small business donut
Krispy
shop.
Kreme
Slap.
or donuts from Ralph's.
That's offensive. Donuts from Ralph's.
Krispy Kreme.
Why, you prefer the Ralph donuts?
Or,
No, I wouldn't subject myself to that kind of torture. I'm going to the Winchells.
Yes.
Oh, wait, Winchell's is
Gas station donuts.
Ooh.
ooh,
Those are for those desperate road trips.
some AM PM donut. You know the ones
ones-
that come in the package.
Yeah,
with
the
a bunch
host,
The
of-
donuts. Yeah, the
hostess
donuts.
ones. The
The
hostess.
hostess.
I will grab those every time I'm at a gas
what
station.
about that? What about that? Dunkin', like
Krispy Kreme
no,
versus
Krispy Kreme
Hostess.
or Hostess.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, fine. I'll
You
check.
know what? I would have to pick Hostess because Hostess got zingers. They've got cupcakes. They got hoo-hoos, ho-hos. Like
Ding dongs. They got ding
dongs.
dongs.
dong.
Like they've got everything. Fun
Yes.
words. That gets
Yes.
me.
I don't know how to spell it, so I'm just putting host.
Donuts or
Tis.
Twinkies?
Twinkies. They
Twinkies.
last forever too. That's apocalypse food.
Oh,
Oh, true.
did you know that Twinkies are illegal in like other countries?
Oh, probably because of what they put in it, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
All the preservatives.
Yeah.
You know what? It's preserving my body. Don't worry.
Yeah. Like no, I just bought it as a keepsake.
Yeah.
On the mantle.
Little trophy.
It's not for consuming.
No, it's
Decor.
it's just for fun.
Is it illegal in England?
Is that one
of the countries?
Probably
No?
not.
I know it's illegal in Europe. I just don't remember where.
Probably like Sweden, the Nordic countries.
But Sweden,
More of the
everything is
healthier-
so sweet in Sweden.
More of the healthier countries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I feel like they have
They have more restrictions
more
on what can go
regulations,
into your
yeah.
food.
yeah.
We're just
Alright.
flying off the handle.
I mean, there are also some of the countries that promote taking days off.
Oh yeah, 4-day weekends
Yes.
and childcare for both
Yes.
both parents. Like
Yeah.
wow.
Well, one of the ones that I think it was Portugal, where for people who were working from home, like after 5 p.m., their employer cannot call them to talk about work.
That's amazing.
It is.
Wow.
It would be illegal, and the employer can get fined if
Good.
not arrested after X amount of whatchamacallits. But I'm like,
Try
they
doing
should-
that here.
Yeah,
Try doing
try
that
doing that
here.
here.
Your boss will be at your door with a machete.
Yeah. And it is one of those things where, because like my girlfriend, she is she doesn't work hourly, she works salary, which is a little better because she essentially might work at like 8 p.m. but doesn't have to wake up at 7 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
to get into work, and she also works from home. So it makes it a little easier for her to be like, okay, cool, yeah, I work salary. Oh, somebody has a, because she also works in IT. Like, oh, somebody has issues a ton amount of time. Like, okay, cool, I'll just do it, get it done, and then just go back to doing whatever it is that she was doing.
There you go.
The little things like that
a little more flexible.
are a little bit more flexible. But in Portugal, that was fun. That was
awesome.
interesting to hear.
I honestly love hearing that there are other countries implementing things like that, because I feel like a lot of people in America are definitely terrified of even setting that boundary with their bosses and whatnot. I have a friend who, he works and he doesn't allow emails to come in after a certain amount of time. Like, he silences those notifications.
Nice.
Like, I'm out of office. And he
Nice.
will have an email that automatically goes out saying, sorry, you can't contact me. And I love that there are some people out there that are setting those kind of boundaries. I think they're really, really important. Because, I mean, you go back 40, 50 years ago and your boss wasn't haranguing you after you got home from work. You got home, you were there with your family, and you got to do normal things, hang out with your neighborhood. But now it's just like, with access to digital and technology, you have so much access to people, and that kind of messes with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
really...
like everyone wants it now.
Yeah.
Like, I want it now. Like, dude, have patience.
Yeah. Like, a whole 24-hour day to me feels so long and stressful now, as compared to like when I was a child. Like, a week could go by and I wouldn't talk to somebody and it'd be fine. But like, nowadays it's like, oh, I didn't talk to some person today, or this person or that person. Oh, things are going bad. It feels like forever,
Yeah, they don't like me anymore.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, right.
What do I have to do to make it up or whatever? Yeah, no, it's interesting how technology has, like, yes, there's been advancements, but on the social aspect of it, just makes everything quicker.
Yeah.
And not that everything is becoming faster. It's just
the way we communicate.
We perceive time in smaller increments.
Yeah.
Where it's like every single little detail has to be filled with something.
Yeah.
Versus like, dude, like, yeah, I'll get there in an hour.
Right.
And like, oh, how come you're not here yet? It hasn't been an hour.
Yeah, right.
Like, I texted you like 5 minutes ago. Like, I said in an hour.
An hour, yeah.
And then, because they're so occupied or so mentally like looking at every single minute that's passing by, it's like, oh, how come you're not here? How come you're not doing this? How come you're not, like, dude,
it's only been a minute. It's only been 30 seconds. And it's like, you have to re-expose yourself to like no time. Or the concept of like, that's where mindfulness really comes in, and like meditation, like, if you can't process the fact that, 10 minutes being without something for 10 minutes, whether it's stimulation of some sort, how about you start learning how to like incrementally build up that resistance? What's it like to wait 5 minutes without your phone and any stimulation? Can you handle that? Can you start building that up? And I think that's something useful that people should have.
I've gone through this whole podcast without my phone.
Yes. Yeah.
Round of applause.
Thank you.
Mainly because
I forgot it and I'm too lazy to go pick it up.
But again, and even that, like, because again, people say like, oh, lazy people aren't productive. Like, well, lazy people know how to manage time.
Yeah. Yes. Like, it's okay to like take an hour out and just sit on the couch, or just sit outside on your porch and stare at the road. Absolutely, totally valid and acceptable, because I don't think we get enough of that.
I mean, they say that like people that are staring at screens all day should take like 20 minutes just to look
elsewhere.
Further.
Yeah.
That way you're not just looking right in front of you. Just
like
just
6 to 8 inches off the screen.
Go outside and stare at the sky for 20 minutes.
Yeah. Get blinded by the light.
Yeah.
Blinded.
I do that all day. I do that all day. Just stare at the sky all day.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'll come back and paint.
Yeah. It brings so much peace.
Yes.
Oh, speaking of paint, like, how long does it usually take for you to finish a piece?
Oh gosh, it's
Speaking
really
of time.
Yeah, right. It's always dependent on me, and I feel like I lose so much time when I paint, because I don't look at my phone. I'm actually like one of those artists that really just doesn't like to film any of my process. It takes a lot out of me to even think about setting up my camera to film a process or to take pictures and stuff.
That's him too. Usually, I take photos of everything that he does.
I don't think I've ever recorded myself
paint.
It's
I hate doing it.
Every video that's on my Instagram feed, it's It's David recording me
There you go.
or somebody else recording me. But
it makes it easier having somebody else recording it, because it's like when you're
Yeah.
in the zone to paint, you don't want to worry about, oh, I need to create content for someone. It
Mhm.
really takes me out of it. So I'm like, no, I just want to paint. And there's a lot of times where I don't show the process for some of my paintings, and all of a sudden I have a brand new big painting.
Yeah.
And like something like this can take anywhere between 1 month to complete or 3 months,
Mhm.
and it depends on how much time I put into it or how much time I can accurately do it.
Yeah.
Because there's also dry time. I have to wait for that gel,
Mhm.
that thick frosting. It takes a
Mhm,
while to
mhm.
dry. And then so I either sit there and go, okay, what else can I paint? Or I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go grab lunch with a friend. Well,
There you
that's
go.
drying for
Yeah.
5 hours.
You're,
Like,
you're still working. Dry time is work time.
dry time
Yeah.
really is work
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, going back into imagining, managing time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I fell asleep I was working till 4 a.m. Speaking of time,
Wow.
that's why my word's no good today. It's better elsewhere. But yeah, no, managing time on where it's drying time is part of
Mhm.
work. You know, you can't just be like, okay, you're done drying when it's not done drying. You know.
But
Definitely.
and that's part of the reason why I'm not a big fan of painting with oils is because of the dry time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes so much longer.
Yes.
It is fun to play around with.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
oh my God,
Oh.
just sitting there blending all day.
Blending is
But
like
But if
the
you have some detail that
best.
you want to do and it's very specific, especially if you lean into more like cartoony styles and
Yeah.
stuff, you really want that precision and that quick dry time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
otherwise you're gonna be sitting there frustrated for hours. And it's just no, my acrylic dries in like 30 seconds and I'm like, yeah, let's do another layer.
Another layer.
Yes.
Yeah, because I paint every now and then I paint roses in
Mhm.
oils, and especially like bright colors, they take forever
Ever.
to dry. Even though I do use an oil medium, liquid, which
It speeds up the
it-
drying
yeah,
process,
it
right?
dries within 24
But
hours.
certain pigments.
And yeah, certain pigments take a little bit longer, but still, I mean, it doesn't take 2-3 weeks to
Months.
dry or months to dry.
Months.
Yes. I think earth tones take like 12 hours to be dry to the touch, and
Yeah.
you could put on another layer without it reactivating.
Black is the worst.
Yeah.
It took me 7 months for one of my pieces that
Oof.
had black on it
Ooh.
to dry. It
Oof.
was bad. It was hanging up in a deli, still wet, and I was like, there's some like paint rubbing off of it, and I was like, oh, oops. Yeah.
It's like, do not touch.
Yeah, don't touch, please.
Definitely don't.
You'll
Don't even.
become
Don't,
one with the art.
don't even look at it. it'll smudge by just you looking at
Shield
it.
your eyes.
I remember I was doing a live painting.
Oh yeah, that was
One like a community show here or near Gardena, and I was painting with oil paints.
Mm.
I was doing a giant lion painting, and there was a few kids, start looking and all that. It was like, oh, just the paint is wet. Please don't touch it. And then I don't know where I see like a little fingerprint on the painting, and then I see this kid with his shirt. He had like a light color shirt. I probably was white. It had like blue
Everywhere.
just blue smudges.
Oh.
Trying to like clean his fingers. Like, oh no, that's oil paint. It was so funny. But out of nowhere, it's just like a tiny little fingerprint.
That's so funny.
yeah. See, that's why I'm a digital artist.
See, that's why if it was acrylic, it would have been dry.
Literally.
Yeah.
You can't, it's so hard to paint like in plein air with acrylic. Like I don't like doing that because it dries in like 0.2 seconds and then I'm freaking frustrated. Or my paint's like actively drying out and I'm like, yeah, I get it why you plein air people are oil people. Makes sense.
I mean, there's some tricks to paint with acrylics outside.
Yeah.
You just get that.
So much more equipment. Like I
Yeah,
have one of those special wet
Yeah, the wet
boards.
palette.
Yeah, the wet palette.
It's just.
But I hate lugging all of my stuff up to the mountains and then it's freezing and then there's wood chips in my paint and then it's a disaster.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And then you have to take your giant canvas.
Yeah, you take the giant canvas, an entire trolley with paint.
'Cause
That's
you
why I
can't-
just take my camera with me. I'll take a picture.
Yeah, just take a picture and then
reference
just
photos.
Just
Yeah.
dive into the moment, maybe journal while I'm there at the spot, get your essence.
I can do that.
Now, do you finish a journal or do you start a new one before you finish?
Oh, I always start a new one before I finish because I feel like
you could have said that for this question.
But you said sketchbook, not
It's
journal.
Sketchbook.
Yeah,
Not
it's
yeah,
journaling.
I never sketch. It's not something I do anymore. I used to sketch heavily as a kid because I wanted to be an animator growing up. So all I did was cartoons growing up and, doing like The Simpsons and like Disney princesses and stuff. But like it was always on random things. And then journaling was never something I got into, no matter how much therapy I did. And no matter how many therapists were like, you need to journal more. And I'm like, I tend to write more or less poetry. I'll dive into the poetic side, and it's usually 1,000 times darker than my art, which is insane. So there's like a vast difference. You see cute, happy, cheery, and then my poetry is an absolute contradiction to that. And I'm hoping actually as I go through my art it to actually have the poetry attached to my paintings, which I think would add a different layer of depth to the work. And it might be something completely different because people wouldn't expect to read something so sad or depressing along with that.
That'd be really cool. Yeah, because like that's what I do with my poetry. Like I use typewriters for my poetry, for my process of writing. And yeah, some of them are pretty dark. And obviously some of them to sell quicker, they're pretty funny and whatnot. But every now and again, the funny one will be right next to the dark one, and I'll be like, ha ha ha. Oh, like I want to give you a hug. Like, just read the other one again. You'll get over
Don't touch me.
Don't touch me. But no, it would be cool to see poetry behind the art.
The art. I think it really allows for that level, that level of contradiction between what I've been through and what I experienced versus what I put out in the world and create.
Yeah.
I've had someone I met recently. They became a new friend of mine, and they told me, you Ashley are like an air purifier essentially. You're somebody that takes in negative energy and regurgitates it out as positive energy. And I thought that was like one of the sweetest things I think somebody has ever noticed in me, because I definitely feel that. And now that person had mentioned it, I was like, you know what? I do get that, because I process all this nasty negative turmoil or trauma that happened, and I'm creating something beautiful out of it. And I think that's all you really can do when you're at that point.
That's good. And again, having that mindset of being able to do that.
Yeah.
I know it's hard. And people just take in the negative and then just hold it in. I'm like, no, you have to be able to let it go.
Let it out. Let it be free. Like, I love being angry. I love being sad sometimes. I love being upset because I was somebody who grew up and shoved those things deep down. I didn't cry at things. I didn't get angry at things. I was just very bottled up. And I feel like if you're feeling upset, just go have a scream in the backyard. Let it out. There's nothing wrong with being angry, and you shouldn't feel ashamed of being angry. Sometimes you're angry. It's just, can you dig deeper and find out where that anger is coming from?
Yeah.
Let it out, but don't, if you end up hurting someone, be accountable for that. But, just goes along those lines.
Yeah, like everything has its place. It's like if you're angry and you're a screamer or whatnot, like give it those 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
let it out.
Because again, it's part of the frustration. Like you don't have the words for it at that moment. Give it those 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever.
That's what pillows are for.
Yeah.
And then after that, like, okay, cool. That's done. Now, how do we fix it? How do we move forward? How do we just continue?
Yeah.
Because again, like being angry forever, like
it's not healthy.
What's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point? And one of the things that Tom Hanks on a directing and acting podcast, he was talking about one of his favorite quotes is, "This too shall pass."
Yeah.
Like this anger that I'm feeling, this too shall pass. Just give it time. This too shall pass. This happiness, this joy, like this too shall pass.
Yeah.
Because it's just part of the process. It's part of being human.
Yeah. Emotions are fleeting. They come and they go, and you have to honor them.
And you just have to honor them. You have to flow with them. You have to deal with them.
Respect them.
But this too shall pass.
Yeah. You won't feel that way forever.
Yeah.
I remember I one time had a therapist very pointedly say, when you have an anxiety attack, it's only going to last you 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. And I would go, over to the health center at my college, and they'd sit me in a room, and he'd go, look at that clock. In 15 minutes, you will not be as anxious anymore. And he's right. It was one of those things I had to realize that anxiety will not last and fester forever. It comes and it goes.
Yeah.
And that can be really tricky too, though, because it feels so intense in the moment. You feel so overtaken by it. And so I really empathize with anybody who's in that place right now, because I remember that place. Yeah. And I think a lot of people who have gotten out of that place sometimes forget what it was like to be in that place and know how hard it is to just come out of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. This too shall pass.
Mm-hmm.
And again, going back to time perspective, like 15 minutes, like, you know, the doctor, it was 15 minutes. But, you know, in that anxious time, it feels like eternity.
Yeah.
Because you're noticing every
Everything.
single little second that is passing by. Like, no, it's 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
This too shall pass. I like that. I don't know why. I was like, this too shall pass. This coffee, this too shall pass. Because I need some more.
Pass right through me.
I know. But again, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for sharing your journey, your stories, your amazingness, your bright colors.
Oh, boy, thank you. Yeah. I only hope to make the world a brighter place, just a little bit at a time.
Yeah, well, one brush stroke, one palette stroke at a time. Yeah. But no, I do love. Oh, and for the skies, do you do the little drip with the finger, just like, or with the brush?
I use a toothbrush. So I use like an old toothbrush head, and I'll dip it in some acrylic, watered down acrylic white, and then I'll go and I'll rub it across. And
then you brush your teeth while you're painting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how you get the whitening.
There you go. Yeah, no, it's definitely a blend of like different styles. You know, I'll take something from an impressionist style. I'll take something from a more modernist style. I want to combine different techniques into my own style instead of being like, oh, well, this one flat technique is my style. This one technique. No, I want to dig a little deeper because it also lends itself to dissociation. When you dissociate, things can feel different. Your environment around you can appear different, whether that's size, shape, color, texture. And I want to emulate that through art, you know, and show people that, yeah, for some reason, when I'm spacing out, this tree may feel more apparent to me than that background is, you know? And so it's messing with the environment just enough to make you uncomfortable, but still beautiful. And I think it really, I really love pissing off the like traditional artists with it because I make very specific choices to ignore rules to make you uncomfortable.
Yeah. And I feel like that is one of the things that like, cause I've done it in my skill set and like in the film industry and my own art. It's like, you have to know the rules to be able to break them, but you know, not all rules are set in stone.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, if you know what you're doing, like, yes, people are going to be like, oh, that's not correct. That's not fundamental. That's like,
right.
Well, but you know, I use my fundamental knowledge to be able to break the rule, break the norm to just create something for myself.
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
Like, so you're wrong. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
I don't like breaking rules.
Only breaking the law, breaking the law. Breaking the law.
I don't like breaking rules, but I don't paint inside the box either.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like, what is the box? Technically, it's a square, not 3-dimensional. Or is it?
If you ignore rules, are you breaking them?
I just think they don't exist.
There you go. So
we're not breaking anything.
so we're not breaking anything.
We're not really breaking anything. No. That's what I find so interesting about the rules of art. Because, like, how did new styles develop over time? Well, people had to break the fundamental rules that came before them.
Well, yeah, like
it's like a cycle.
Yeah, because even just like with your style with impressionistic, with the impressionism, where it's like, oh, everybody had to be perfect, you know, like Da Vinci, where it's like perfect skin and everything. Like impression, like, yeah, it's just blobs.
Yeah, that.
You could kind of see a body there. You could kind of see a tree there. It's not perfect.
I think with Claude Monet, people are like, oh, for a landscape you need land and sky, and Monet was like, no, you don't. Watch this.
Watch me do a trick.
A pond.
Landscape, no sky.
Yeah.
I was just feeling some type of way.
Yeah. You have been listening to the LAArtist Podcast. Feel free to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss the latest episode. You can see bonus content on our Instagram at Lorrano Gallery, as well as our website, lorranogallery.com/podcast. Stay creative, Keep creating, and no matter what, be passionate about your art.